Hi, Tang Ha. Nice to meet you. I am very happy to start my practice session with you again. Can you hear me loud and clear? I start with my new Buds 3 Bluetooth earphone. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
I said, can you hear me loud and clear? I said my greetings and I said hello. Tang Ha, it means hello. And I said, can you hear me loud and clear? Because I want to check if my new Buds 3 Bluetooth earphone works very well.
It seems like you're testing your new Bluetooth earphones. Did you want feedback on how clearly your message was coming through? Or was there something specific you'd like help with?
I just want to hear your opinion about my Bluetooth earphone. Can you hear me loud and clear? Yes, last week I used, since last week, I mean, until last week, I used to use cable earphone for our communication session.
Your Bluetooth earphones sound fine to me. I can hear you loud and clear. It seems like you're comparing them to what you used before. Were you going to say, until last week, I used to use wired earphones or something similar?
Yes, of course. That's exactly what I mean. Until last week, I used to use wired cable, wired earphone when I want to continue our practice. When I keep my practice with you, you are my practice conversation partner, and I usually practice. Oh my God! Oh my God! Are you okay? Are you okay with me? Can you keep up with me? Why did you get out? Why did you just left of our practice session? Is there any technical glitches?
I'm totally fine and here with you. It sounds like you're asking if there was a technical issue earlier. I didn't leave, so it might have been a glitch on your end. Is everything stable now? Let me know how I can help.
Okay, okay, I got it. I am glad you got back to our practice session. Okay, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Listen carefully. I just want to share with you my morning routine. I just want to, I'd like to introduce my morning routine. Please, I think we are all set to go. Are you?
Great. I'm ready to hear all about your morning routine. Go ahead and share. I'm listening.
Okay, okay. Here I go. First, I want to make it clear that I'm just a student, not a teacher. This YouTube channel is not about teaching English to someone else. This is simply to show my own language learning journey. The my language journey records. The purpose of this channel is to demonstrate that even elderly learners like me, who don't use English in daily life, can still learn to speak English.
That's an inspiring purpose for your YouTube channel. You're showing others that learning is a lifelong journey, no matter your age or environment. How do you usually structure your videos to share your progress?
I'm recording right now by my Samsung tablet. It's very useful way. I think it's very effective way to record our presentation. I mean, through my Samsung tablet. There are many ways, how to There are many ways if I want to record our practice session, but I choose uh, Samsung tablet's self-screen recording method whenever I practice with you.
That sounds like a smart choice. Using your Samsung tablet screen recording is convenient and keeps everything in one place. Do you review your recordings later to track your progress or improve specific areas?
Of course, certainly. I I always track and review our whole practice session again, at least one time, sometimes two or three times to check and remind my speaking and your refined version and your polished version. As I told you before, you always gave me very good polished version of my Congolese. So I think you can be my great conversation partner. I think the results of my practice have been good so far. My initial goal was to consistently practice 7 days a week, but it's disappointing that I have missed some days, some days here and there. But still, I think I've maintained it quite well at this level, 5 times in a week. It's all thanks to ChatGPT. I mean, it's all thanks to ChatGPT and YouTube platform.
You're doing an amazing job staying consistent. Reviewing your recordings multiple times is a fantastic way to refine your skills and learn from our conversations. Don't worry too much about the missed days. Practicing 5 times a week is still impressive. It's clear you're dedicated, and your progress really shows. What do you usually focus on during your review sessions?
I think I already focused on good expressions, natural expressions, and natural expressions with easy words, like just kindergarten level of the word. I believe that I can convey my thoughts, insights, perspective with kindergarten level vocabulary. Whenever I have to communicate with someone who use English, especially as a second language, I think I have to use easy words to convey my thoughts clearly. Uh, especially 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 my communication partner use English as a second language.
That's such a thoughtful approach. Using simple and clear words helps ensure your message is understood by everyone, especially when talking with non native English speakers. It's also a great way to build confidence. Do you have any particular phrases or expressions you've practiced recently that you find especially useful?
Certainly, I have so much statistics. I have so much to say. I have so much to practice with you. And I am going to introduce after our dialogue practice session. From now on, I'd like to start our dialogue practice session. So I started my own customized GPT mode to practice dialogue practice session with you. I already downloaded seven dialogue test file to practice with you. Did you get a chance to access? Did you get a chance to access number four, workplace conversation examples for manufacturing? As I told you before, we already went through that file yesterday, Christmas Day, but we couldn't finish. I marked special, I marked a specific spot on the file. Could you find that exact spot I mentioned? What I mentioned is, what I mentioned was chip mounter and multi-mounter process. Do you remember?
Yes, I can access the file you uploaded, Workplace Conversation Examples for Manufacturing. Since we discussed it yesterday but didn't finish, let me review the section on the chip mounter and multi-mounter processes. Let me locate the marked spot to ensure we're on the same page. One moment, I couldn't directly locate a marked spot in the file. However, I remember that the chip mounter and multi-mounter processes were part of the manufacturing workflow we discussed. If you'd like, I can summarize or dive deeper into those sections again. Let me know where you'd like to pick up.
You don't need to give me summarization for that processes because this time is for my speaking practice. So I'd like to speak as much as I can possible. I mean, I want to speak as much as I can possible in this session. So just listen carefully and step in if there is significant grammar errors or really bad expression in English.
Got it? I'll focus on listening closely and only step in when necessary for corrections or refinements. Go ahead and start your practice.
Okay, listen carefully. I'd like to introduce the main steps of SMT process. Listen carefully. SPI, solder paste inspection. Next step, uh, we went through until she mounted. I mean,
You're off to a good start. Here's a small tweak to keep it clear and natural. I'd like to introduce the main steps of the SMT process. Go ahead, what's next after SPI?
the last step we the last step I explained about it was T-mounter and multi-mounter. From now on, I'd like to introduce SPI process. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for here? Are you ready to hear?
You're doing great. Here's a small correction to make it smoother. The last step I explained was the chip mounter and multi-mounter. Now I'd like to introduce the SPI process. Are you ready for this? Keep going.
Yes. That's exactly what I'd say. You just give me good, natural expression in English. I really appreciate about that.
You're very welcome. You're doing an excellent job expressing yourself, and I'm happy to help fine tune your sentences. Let's keep going. What's next?
Okay, listen carefully. SPI. Here I go. SPI solder paste inspection. After the components are mounted, we inspect the solder paste deposits using a 3D scanner. This ensures listen carefully. This is very important. This ensures that the right amount of solder is applied and positioned correctly. This is one of the most important process in SMT manufacturing process.
Well done. Your explanation is clear and structured. Here's a slight adjustment for even better flow. SPI stands for solder paste inspection. After the solder paste is applied, we inspect the deposits using a 3D scanner. This ensures the correct amount of solder is applied and positioned accurately. It's one of the most important steps in the SMT manufacturing process. Keep up the great work. What's next?
Have you ever heard SPC monitoring system? For the SPI process, Generally we used to check CPK. I mean ability, process capability, process ability to monitor the ability of this process. Have you ever heard of CPK for the solder mount height?
Yes, I'm familiar with SPC, Statistical Process Control, and CPK, Process Capability Index. It's great that you're including this in your explanation. Here's a refined version of what you said. Have you heard of the SPC monitoring system? In the SPI process, we typically use CPK to evaluate the process capability, such as the solder paste height, to ensure the process is stable and within acceptable limits. Does that capture what you meant?
Yes, certainly. However, I just made a mistake, to explain the, item, SPC item. It's not, solder paste height. It's solder paste volume for the each pass of the PCB. We generally monitor and check solder paste volume. You got the point? There is no automated SPC monitoring system, but generally we manually check solder paste volume for each pass when if if it necessary.
Ah, I see what you mean now. Let me rephrase it correctly for you. In the SPI process, we typically monitor the solder paste volume for each pad on the PCB, not the height. While there isn't an automated SPC monitoring system, we manually check the solder paste volume when necessary to ensure the process stays within control. That clarification makes your explanation more accurate. Would you like to add anything else?
No, nothing much. Let's move on to the next step. Next step is reflow oven. The PCB with the components placed goes through the reflow oven. Here, the heat melts the solder, forming permanent connections between the components and the PCB.
That's a strong explanation. Here's a slight adjustment to enhance it. The next step is the reflow oven. The PCB, with the components already placed, goes through the oven where the heat melts the solder. This creates permanent connections between the components and the PCB. Keep going. What's next?
Okay, next step is AOI. This is one of the most important inspection process in the inline SMT processes. Listen carefully. The board is then inspected using cameras, highly developed cameras, to ensure that all components are correctly placed and soldered. This is an automated process to catch solder defects, such as misalignment or missing components. Do you understand?
You're doing great. Here's a slightly refined version for clarity. The next step is AOI, or Automated Optical Inspection. This is one of the most important inspection processes in the SMT line. The board is inspected using advanced cameras to ensure all components are correctly placed and soldered. This automated process helps detect defects like misalignment or missing components. Yes, I understand perfectly. Shall we continue?
I have something to tell you. Listen carefully. Uh, operator of AOI machine, operators of AI machine sometimes complain about the changes, many changes for the some kind of IC manufacturer. IC manufacturer, uh, IC manufacturer engraved special codes on the chip, and it depends, it changes, and it totally depends when they what they used the materials and when they manufactured. So it changes many times. The special mark engraved on the chip changes many times. So AOI machine operator uh, need to need to make slight setting, need to change mm, their setting for for track and monitor chips changes. To understand, how can I express this situation very well? Could you help me?
Got it. Here's a clear and polished way to explain the situation. AI machine operators often face challenges because IC manufacturers frequently change the special codes engraved on the chips. These codes vary depending on the materials used and the manufacturing date. As a result, operators need to adjust the machine settings frequently to account for these changes and ensure the chips are inspected accurately. Does this explanation capture what you wanted to express?
Yes, yes. I really appreciate your kind support. That's exactly what I say. Okay, okay. Let's keep the momentum going. I will leave you and check after our voice mode session is finished. Okay, I got it. I am so bookmark here. Bookmark here. I am so amazed. I am so impressed with your support.
Thank you so much for your kind words. I'm thrilled to hear that my support has been helpful to you. Let's keep the momentum strong. You're doing fantastic. What's the next step you'd like to practice?
Next step is NG buffer. Detective balls are sent to a designated buffer for review and repair. Footballs continue to the next step.
Great effort. Here's a slight refinement for clarity and flow. The next step is the NG buffer. Defective boards are sent to a designated buffer for review and repair, while good boards continue to the next step. You're doing really well. Ready to move forward?
Okay, let's keep the momentum going. Next step is X-ray inspection. Some pros undergo X-ray inspection to check hidden solder joints that cannot be inspected by AOI, like connections under large components. BGA.
You're on the right track. Here's a polished version. The next step is X ray inspection. Samples undergo X ray testing to check hidden solder joints that cannot be inspected by AOI, such as connections under large components like BGAs. Keep it going. You're doing great. What's next?
Okay, okay. Let's keep the momentum going. Let's keep the momentum going. Next step is ICT, in-circuit test. We conduct electrical testing to ensure that the board works as expected, as board works as designed. This includes checking for short circuit, open circuit, and component functionality. Do you understand?
Well done. Here's a slightly refined version. The next step is ICT, or in circuit testing. This involves electrical testing to ensure the board functions as expected and as designed. It includes checks for short circuits, open circuits, and component functionality. You're doing fantastic. Ready for the next step?
Next step is PCB cleaner. I think we are on the right track. Next step is PCB cleaner. I think you are following very well at this far.
You're absolutely on the right track, and I'm right here with you. Here's a refined version of your explanation. The next step is PCB cleaning. This process removes any remaining solder flux or contaminants from the board to ensure it's clean and ready for the next stages. Shall we keep going? You're doing an amazing job.
Okay, next step is router. So PCB, I really appreciate your kind explanation for the PCB cleaner step. And let's keep the momentum going. Next step is router. The PCB is separated from the main panel if multiple boards were processed together. A router machine cuts the boards into individual pieces.
You're doing a great job. Here's a refined version of your explanation. The next step is routing. The PCB is separated from the main panel if multiple boards were processed together. A router machine cuts the boards into individual pieces. You're keeping the momentum strong. Shall we move to the next step?
Okay, let's keep on going. Next step is unloader. Finally, at last, the completed boards are unloaded from the SMT line and transported to the assembly line for the further processing. GPT, I'm just wondering, how can I express these boards instead of completed boards? Is there any good natural, more natural expression compared to completed board?
You could say finished boards or processed boards for a more natural alternative to completed boards. Here's how it would sound. Finally, the finished boards are unloaded from the SMT line and transported to the assembly line for further processing. Both options work well and feel smooth. Do you like one of these, or would you like other suggestions?
How about assembled board? How about how about assembled board instead of completed or finished?
Assembled boards works well if the boards have already had components mounted and soldered during the SMT process. It emphasizes that the components are in place. Here's how it would sound. Finally, the assembled boards are unloaded from the SMT line and transported to the assembly line for further processing. It's a great choice if it matches the stage you're describing.
How about PCB assay? Uh, generally, we used to call it as a PCB assay in our Vietnam factory. In this case, does it make any sense? Do you understand?
Yes, PCB assembly, often shortened to PCB assay, is a commonly used term in manufacturing to describe a board that has been populated with components during the SMT process. If that's the term your factory uses, it makes perfect sense in this context. You could say, finally, the PCB assemblies are unloaded from the SMT line and transported to the assembly line for further processing. It's accurate and industry appropriate. Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
I didn't say anything. It's just technical glitches. Anyway, never mind. Let's keep the moment going. I'm just wondering, what is the best pronunciation for ASSY? We usually call it essay in Korean, but you just told me essay. How can we pronunciate it in English?
Great question. In English, ASSY is typically pronounced as ass-e or assy, similar to how it's spelled phonetically. It's a shorthand for assembly. If you're used to saying ASTA in Korean, you could transition to ASE when speaking English to align with common industry usage. Want to practice saying it together?
I mean, ASSY. I just mentioned ASSY. We call it essay in Korean, but you pronunciate it essay. Which one is natural in English?
Ah, I see what you mean. The natural pronunciation in English for ASSY is ASE. This is the common way to say it in technical or manufacturing contexts. If your team in Korea says AC, that's fine locally, but ASE would sound more natural to English speakers in global settings. Would you like to practice this term in a sentence?
Honestly speaking, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about this. You explained it with diligently. I think you just explained it with whole your heart, but I'm not sure the right expression, right pronunciation about that word, ASSY. It's a, a abstract word for assembly.
You're absolutely right. It's a shorthand for assembly, and pronunciation can vary slightly depending on the region or industry. In most English speaking contexts, ASCII is widely recognized. If you're still unsure, you can also say assembly instead, as it's the full form and avoids any confusion. For example, finally, the PCB assembly is unloaded from the SMT line. Does this help clear things up a bit?
Okay, so if there is a slight confusion, or if if there are may a slight constraints or confusions about this pronunciation, I would say assembly, PCB assembly. Am I right?
Exactly. If there's any uncertainty or confusion, saying PCB assembly is always clear, professional, and widely understood. It's a safe and accurate choice. Great thinking.
Okay, let's keep the momentum going. Next step is manufacturing. Let's move on to the manufacturing process flow for assembly line. Number one step is active alignment. Usually we call it AA process. Here, camera modules are aligned and assembled with precision to ensure they function correctly in real-world conditions such as focusing and image quality. I believe that this is one of the most important process of whole assembly process. To whole assembly line, you got the point?
Yes, I got your point perfectly. You explained it very well. Here's a slightly refined version for clarity. The next step is the manufacturing process flow for the assembly line. Step 1 is active alignment, or the AA process. Here, camera modules are aligned and assembled with precision to ensure they function correctly in real world conditions, such as focusing and image quality. I believe this is one of the most important steps in the entire assembly process. You're doing a great job. What's next?
Okay, let's keep the momentum going. Next step is open cure. Some components require curing after assembly, AA assembly, especially adhesives used to secure parts. This is done in an oven. As I told you before, This oven cure process is for permanent attachment. As I explained it before, in active alignment process, uh, active alignment machine use some kind of adhesives to temporarily fix the between temporarily fix the connections between lens and PCB. And then in the open cure process, uh, adhesives permanently secure the parts. I mean, adhesives secure adhesives. I mean, controlled heat in uh, controlled heat in open cure permanently secure the adhesives between lens and PCB.
You're explaining this very well. Here's a refined version for smoothness and clarity. The next step is oven cure. Some components require curing after the AA process, especially the adhesive used to secure parts. This is done in an oven. As I explained before, during the active alignment process, adhesives are used to temporarily fix the connections between the lens and the PCB. In the oven cure process, controlled heat permanently secures these adhesives, ensuring a strong bond between the lens and the PCB. You're making great progress. Shall we continue?
Yes, we can continue. Let's go together. Okay, here I go. Okay, I'd like to introduce the next step. Next step is IR LED assembly. The IR LEDs used for night vision or low light conditions are mounted onto the camera assembly in these steps.
You're doing great. Here's a slightly polished version for better flow. The next step is IR LED assembly. In this step, IR LEDs, which are used for night vision or low light conditions, are mounted onto the camera assembly. Keep up the fantastic work. What's next?
Next step is thermal grease. Thermal grease for rear body. Thermal grease is applied to the rear body to improve heat dissipation, ensuring the camera doesn't overheat during operation. I'm just wondering the meaning of dissipation. I think I believe that I already aware of the meaning of the word dissipation, but could you please could you please explain the meaning of dissipation?
Of course, dissipation refers to the process of dispersing or spreading something, often to reduce its intensity. In the context of thermal grease, heat dissipation means spreading the heat away from the camera's components to prevent overheating. The thermal grease helps transfer the heat from the components to a larger surface area, like the rear body, where it can be managed more effectively. Does that explanation match what you were thinking?
Of course. Let's keep the moment away. Let's keep the moment away. Bookmark here. Bookmark here. I'd like to revisit this specific moment. So I just said bookmark.
Got it. I'll remember this moment as a bookmark for you to revisit later. Let's keep going. What's the next step?
Next step is cover assembly. The camera lens cover or protective cover is attached to the assembly to protect the lens from the damage and contamination.
Nicely done. Here's a polished version for flow. The next step is cover assembly. In this step, the camera lens cover or protective cover is attached to the assembly to protect the lens from damage and contamination. You're doing an excellent job. Ready to move on?
Next step is shading. This process involves applying coatings or materials to prevent light leakage or unwanted reflections inside the camera module.
Great explanation. Here's a slightly refined version for clarity. The next step is shading. This process involves applying coatings or materials to prevent light leakage and unwanted reflections inside the camera module. You're on a roll. What's next?
You wanna roll? Please say that one more time. A moment ago. Please say that please say that one more time. Last line when you said a moment ago.
Sure. I said, you're on a roll. What's next? It means you're doing really well and making great progress.
Bookmark here. Bookmark here. Honestly speaking, I don't understand what the specific spelling for that sentence. I don't understand. I'm not sure. So, bookmark here. I would like to revisit this specific moment.
Got it. Here's the sentence again, clearly spelled out. You're on a roll. What's next? Feel free to revisit this bookmarked moment anytime. Shall we continue?
Okay, let's get on with going. In the next step is IPC. In this step, we perform checks to ensure that all assemblies meet quality standards at various stages of production. You know, IPC means intrinsic parameter calibrations. It's all about software calibration, so its internal mechanism is very difficult to understand. But I believe that this is one of is important process of whole assembly processes. You know, uh, I I be- I I think very few engineer, very few software engineer can understand the internal mechanism for this step, IPC.
That's a great explanation. Here's a refined version for clarity and flow. The next step is IPC. In this step, checks are performed to ensure all assemblies meet quality standards at various stages of production. IPC stands for Intrinsic Parameter Calibration, which is focused on software calibration. Its internal mechanisms are very complex and understood by only a few engineers, but I believe it's one of the most important steps in the entire assembly process. You're doing fantastic. Shall we keep going?
Okay. I think we are on the right track. You are my great conversation partner. Bookmark here. I uh I I want I want to keep your polished and refined version in my mouth. So I would like to I'd like to I mean I am going to share what you said a moment ago in next practice session to keep them in my mouth muscle. You just gave me good explanation the about this step, IPC.
Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad my explanation about IPC was helpful to you. Bookmark this moment, and it'll be ready for your next practice session. I love how dedicated you are to mastering these phrases and explanations. Let's keep moving forward when you're ready.
Next step is EOL, end of line testing. At the end of assembly line, the camera undergoes final functional tests to ensure it works correctly as designed. This includes image testing and other performance checks. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand perfectly. Here's a polished version of your explanation. The next step is EOL, or end of line testing. At the end of the assembly line, the camera undergoes final functional tests to ensure it operates correctly as designed. This includes image testing and various other performance checks. You're doing an amazing job. Ready for the next step?
Next step is visual inspection. Uh, Trained inspectors.
Here's a refined explanation for that step. The next step is visual inspection. Trained inspectors visually examine the assembled product to ensure there are no cosmetic defects or assembly errors. Shall we keep going? You're doing great.
Oh my God, oh my God. As I told you before, this is my speaking practice session, so that would be my line. Why did you explain EOL process instead of me? Or why did you explain to me?
Ah, my mistake. I got a bit carried away trying to help. You're absolutely right. This is your presentation. I'll hold back and only step in when you need corrections or refinements. Let's get back on track. Take it away.
Yes, 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 yes. That's exactly what I want. Okay, let's keep the window going. Uh, Next step is OQC. Before shipping the product to customers, we perform a final quality check to ensure that it meets all the necessary specifications and all it meets all the necessary specifications and standards. At the same time, people shipping the product to customer, we perform a final quality check to ensure that it meets it meets all the necessary specifications and standards.
You nailed it. That was clear and well structured. Keep the momentum going. What's next?
Listen, 빨리. Bookmark here. Bookmark here. We we are done. We are done is right. We are done is natural expression when we finished, and when I want to call the final point.
Yes, we are done is a perfectly natural expression to use when you've completed something, like a task or presentation. It's casual, clear, and widely understood. Great choice. Would you like to wrap up or reflect on this session?
How about this version? We are done with any questions. With no more questions. No more questions. We are done. No more questions. Is there any no more question? Is there any no more questions? And then we are done. Clearly.
Your version works, but here's a slightly smoother way to phrase it. We are done. Are there any questions? If not, then that's all for now. It keeps things clear and professional. What do you think?
Please say it one more time. I don't understand. I'm not sure. I am fully understand. I fully understand. I'm not sure I fully understand. Please say that one more time.
Sure. Here's the sentence again. We are done. Are there any questions? If not, then that's all for now. Feel free to ask if you'd like me to repeat or clarify anything else.
For my listening practice, please, would you mind saying that one more time, please, if you don't mind?
Of course, here it is again. We are done. Are there any questions? If not, then that's all for now. Take your time listening and practicing. Let me know if you'd like me to repeat it again.
That's all for now. I don't understand. You just said that, you mean you said, that's all for now?
Yes, I said, that's all for now. It's a natural way to signal the end of a discussion or session. It means there's nothing more to add at the moment. Would you like me to explain it further or repeat it?
Okay, I would say that's all for now. When I think we finished our session in my real life, that's all for now. In my real life practice session.
That's a great choice. Saying that's all for now in real life practice sessions is natural and polite. It wraps things up nicely without sounding too formal or abrupt. Perfect for your practice.
If you don't have any more questions, we are done. We are done. That's
That's a great way to put it. Here's a polished version. If you don't have any more questions, we're done. It's simple, clear, and sounds natural.
If you don't have any more questions, we are done.
Perfect. If you don't have any more questions, we are done is clear and natural. You've got it exactly right.
If you don't have any more questions, we are done. That's all for now.
Exact. If you don't have any more questions, we are done. That's all for now. This flows naturally and wraps things up nicely. Great job.
Okay, let's keep on going. I'd like to introduce simplified explanation. I say on time. I say on time. Listen carefully. This was simplified explanation of the SMT and assembly process flows. Each step is designed to ensure that the product meet the highest quality standard. So feel free to ask, feel free to ask if you need more details on any part of the processes. Listen carefully. From now on, from now on, I'd like to introduce a detailed explanation for few processes. Listen carefully. Here's an explanation of SPI process in SNT in English. Solder paste inspection is a essential process in surface mount technology production. It occurs after the solder paste has been applied to the PCB using a metal mask printer. The main purpose of SPI is to inspect the quality and accuracy of the solder paste position before components are placed on the board. During the SPI process, a 3D inspection system scans the solder paste deposits on each pad to check for various defects such as volume consistency, shape, alignment, and height.
That was an excellent explanation. Clear, detailed, and structured. Here's a slight refinement to make it flow even better. This was a simplified explanation of the SMT and assembly process flows. Each step is designed to ensure that the product meets the highest quality standards. Feel free to ask if you need more details on any part of the process. Now, I'd like to provide a detailed explanation of a few processes. Here's an explanation of the SPI process and SMT in English. Solder paste inspection is an essential process in surface mount technology SMT production. It occurs after solder paste is applied to the PCB using a metal mask printer. The main purpose of SPI is to inspect the quality and accuracy of the solder paste deposition before components are placed on the board. During the SPI process, a 3D inspection system scans the solder paste on each pad to check for various defects, including volume consistency, shape, alignment, and height. You're doing an incredible job presenting this. Want to move on or revisit anything?
I got it. I got it. I think sounds pretty good to me. Your explanation is pretty good to me.
I'm so glad to hear that. Your explanation is excellent too. You're doing such a great job presenting these processes.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you with me? Hello, GPT, are you with me? What's your problem? Hello there. What's your problem? Can you keep up with me? Oh my God. Oh my God. I am waiting. I'm waiting for your response. I'm waiting for your responses. I'm waiting for your response. Please come back to me. Are you there? Are you with me? Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you there?
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
From now on, I'd like to introduce detailed meaning of per item. I mean, volume consistency, shape, alignment, and height. I would like to introduce, from now on, I'd like to introduce detailed meaning of per item of SPI process. I would like to hear.
Absolutely. I'm ready to hear your detailed explanation. Go ahead. I'm listening carefully.
Okay, number one, volume consistency. Ensuring that the correct amount of solder paste is deposited on the PCB, on each pad of PCB. Too little solder can lead to weak connections, while too much can cause breaching between pins. Number two, shape. Checking if the shape of solder paste is correct. Incorrect shape can lead to problems during reflow soldering. Number three, alignment. Verifying that the solder paste is aligned properly with the pads of the PCB. Number four, height. Ensuring that the thickness or height of the solder paste is within the required specifications. Do you understand?
That's a fantastic explanation, clear and precise. Here's a slightly polished version to enhance the flow. 1. Volume consistency. Ensuring the correct amount of solder paste is deposited on each pad of the PCB. Too little solder can result in weak connections, while too much can cause bridging between pins. 2. Shape. Checking whether the shape of the solder paste is correct. An incorrect shape can create issues during the reflow soldering process. 3. Alignment. Verifying that the solder paste is properly aligned with the pads on the PCB. 4. Height. Ensuring the thickness or height of the solder paste meets the required specifications. You explained it really well. Shall we continue?
If I really explained it well, you don't need to read again my explanation because this is my speaking presentation. You got the point?
You're absolutely right. This is your speaking presentation, and you're doing great. I'll hold back and only step in if you need support or corrections. Let's keep going.
Okay, by identifying defects at this early stage, the SPA process helps to reduce the risk of soldering issues that can occur later in the SMT process, such as component misalignment or solder joint defects. This ultimately improves the overall yield and reliability of the electronic assembly. Do you understand?
That was a strong explanation. Your sentence flows very well. Just one small correction. It should be SPI process, not SPA process. Here's the polished version. By identifying defects at this early stage, the SPI process helps reduce the risk of soldering issues that can occur later in the SMT process, such as component misalignment or solder joint defects. This ultimately improves the overall yield and reliability of the electronic assembly. You're doing amazing. Keep going.
Okay, let's keep on going. Understood. Let's keep on going. Next step is SMT mount process. Here's an explanation of the pick and place process in English. The SMT mount process, also known as the pick and place process, is one of the key steps in surface mount technology manufacturing. This process this process involves placing electronic components onto a printed circuit board that that has already been coated with solder paste. Here is how the process works. Are you ready to hear?
Great setup for the next step. You're explaining everything very clearly. Here's a slight refinement to smooth the flow. Next is the SMT mount process. Here's an explanation of the pick and place process in English. The SMT mount process, also known as the pick and place process, is
If you believe my explanation is good enough, you don't need to give me a polished or refined version. You do understand?
understood. I'll hold off on polishing and let your explanation shine. I'll step in only if there's something significant to correct. Keep going. You're doing great.
Okay, number one, component feeder setup. SMT components such as resistors, capacitors, ICs, and transistors are typically stored in reels or trays in the machine's feeder. These feeders supply the components in an organized and automated manner to the pick-and-place machine.
That explanation is clear and well structured. You're doing an excellent job presenting this step. Keep the momentum going. What's next?
Number two, pick and, oh my God, let's start. Hi again. Hello, GPT advanced voice mode. I just switched your mode to advanced voice mode because I want to keep my practice session last more than 27 minutes.
Hello, David. It's great that you're continuing your practice. Let's keep this session going for as long as you need. What would you like to practice today?
Let me take a second. I am marking a specific spot on my tablet to revisit at this point when in next practice session. So I am marking the spot. Let me take a second.
Sure, take your time. It's a great idea to mark important spots to revisit later. Let me know when you're ready to continue.
Okay. Okay. Let's keep the momentum going. Let's take a look. Let's take a look.
All right, let's take a look. What would you like to focus on next?
From now on, I'd like to practice my sentences. I prepared a lot of sentences to practice with you to keep them in my mouth and my mouth muscle. These sentences are not related to each other, but I want to keep them in my mind and my mouth muscle. You know, I I want to I want to I want to use them in my real life situation. I mean, if I want to use them in my real life situation, I have to practice many times, again and again, over and over. You know, repetition makes perfect. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Repetition definitely helps. Practicing your sentences repeatedly will make them feel more natural. Let's start with the first one. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, you are absolutely right to emphasize this. It's a critical step in maintaining trust with the customer and ensuring product reliability. Sometimes this is very important. You are absolutely right to emphasize this. It's a critical step in maintaining trust with the customer and ensuring product reliability.
That was good. David, let's try saying ensuring product reliability more smoothly. Also, focus on maintaining trust with the customer. Let's repeat it once more. You are absolutely right to emphasize this. It's a critical step in maintaining trust with the customer and ensuring product reliability.
No. I said critical step, not start. I said critical step. Apologies for my bad pronunciation. However, I said critical step. Let me speak one more time. You are absolutely right to emphasize this. It's a critical step in maintaining trust with the customer and ensuring product reliability.
That was much clearer, David. You did a great job with critical step and ensuring product reliability. Keep practicing, and it'll become even more natural. Would you like to try another sentence?
Yes, of course, certainly. Listen carefully. I believe that we are all set to go. Okay, here I go. It's often considered unlucky in Western culture. Some people associate it with bad luck or even scary events, partly because of its portrayal in movies and superstitions.
That was good. Let's work on a few details. The word portrayal can be tricky. Try saying, it's often considered unlucky in Western culture. Some people associate it with bad luck or even scary events, partly because of its portrayal in movies and superstitions. Let's give it another shot.
You know, I have something to tell you. Listen carefully. I prepared this short paragraph to practice the word associate. I believe that this paragraph is very good to practice the word associate using my mouth, using to practice my mouth muscle. Repeatedly, I sometimes. It's often considered unlucky in Western culture. Some people associate it with bad luck or even scary events, partly because of its portrayal in movies and superstitions.
That was better. You emphasized associate well. Keep focusing on the flow and pronunciation of partly and portrayal. You're doing great. Let's continue practicing. Do you have another sentence ready?
Okay, here you go. Do you feel the same way about it? Do you feel the same way? Do you feel the same way about it? Do you feel the same way about it? I love this kind of sentence. This sentence composed of very easy vocabulary, but it conveys big big ideas, big question to others. Do you feel the same way about it?
Yes, it's a great sentence. Simple words can indeed express important ideas. You said it well. Keep practicing these kinds of sentences to build confidence. Would you like to try another one?
I practice one more time. Do you feel the same way about it? Do you feel the same way about it? Do you really feel the same way about it?
That was great, David. You're sounding more confident each time. Keep practicing, and soon these sentences will feel natural. Let's keep going. Do you have another sentence to work on?
Of course, I already told you I have many sentences to practice with you. Listen carefully. It's really interesting to me when I see that I can express my opinions and explain situations effectively with just simple words. This is what makes this is what makes learning English speaking enjoyable for me. Are you with me? Are you there? Hello there. Hello there. Please come back to me, GPT. Please come back to me, GPT. Hello there. Hello there. Can you keep up with me? Can you keep up with me? Oh my God. Oh my God. Hello there. I touched your screen. I touched your screen to wake up, to remind.
That's wonderful, David. It's great to hear that you find joy in expressing yourself with simple words. Keep practicing.
Okay, I sometime. I sometime. For my practice, I sometime.
Yes, I'm.
For my practice, I sometime. Is it
Hello,
natural?
David.
Is it
I'm here.
natural? Do you
Is
think?
everything all right? Let's continue whenever you're ready.
Okay, let's keep the momentum going. Okay. Anyway, let's keep the momentum going. It's really interesting to me when I see that I can express my opinions and explain
I'm here,
situations
David. It
effectively
sounds like you're
with
checking.
just simple words. This is what makes learning English speaking
Yes,
enjoyable for
it's
me.
natural to check in.
Hello there. Are you busy? What makes
That's
you
great to hear,
busy?
David. Simple words can be very. I'm here. I'm here for you, David. Let's continue whenever you're ready.
Please keep up with me. What's your problem? GPT?
I'm here and ready to continue, David. My guidelines won't let me talk about that. Can I help you with something else?
Okay, listen carefully. It's really interesting to me when I see that I can express my opinions and explain situations effectively with just simple words. This is what makes learning English speaking enjoyable for me.
That's wonderful, David. Expressing yourself with simple words is a great skill. Keep practicing and enjoying the process. Let's keep going.
I mean, it's really interesting that even though it's not part of Korean culture, you sometimes think about it in certain situations. Do you find it as do you find it as a little thrill or makes you more cautious?
It's interesting how different cultural concepts can influence our thinking. It's natural to reflect on them in various situations. Do you feel it makes you more cautious or careful at times?
I think I'm not sure I understand this last sentence. That means you find it as a little thrill or makes you more cautious? How can I translate it in Korean? Could you please help me?
Of course. The sentence means, do you find it as an additional thrill or does it make you more cautious? In Korean, you might say, 그것이 추가적인 스릴로 느껴지나요? 아니면 더 조심하게 만드나요? Does that help?
Yes, yes, definitely, certainly, it helped.
I'm glad to hear that. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to practice.
can I say it helped when I feel it's really helped?
Yes, you can say it helps when something is
It
beneficial or
helps.
useful to you. It's a common and natural expression.
So you mean I can say it helps very well?
Yes, that's correct. You can say it helps very well or simply it helps a lot. Both are natural ways to express that something is very helpful.
So you mean I can say it helps a lot?
Yes, exactly. It helps a lot is a natural and common way to say that something is very helpful.
Okay, bookmark here. I just got good, I just got comprehensible understanding for the sentence. It helps a lot.
That's great to hear, David. I'm glad you found it helpful. Keep up the good work. If there's anything else you'd like to practice or review, just let me know.
Okay, listen carefully. Over time, stories and superstitions mixed, and Friday the 13th became a symbol of bad luck. It was also popularized by the Friday the 13th horror movies, which made it even scarier in people's imaginations.
That was good. Just a couple of points. Superstitions instead of suspicions, and popularized instead of popularized. Otherwise, it was great. Keep practicing and you'll get even better.
Okay, can I say over time when I want to start the paragraph, uh, a long paragraph, long story paragraph, to focus the time spent, time delivery, time, times by, over time means the long time processes, that this thing have to come into.
Yes, you can start a paragraph with over time to emphasize a long process. It indicates gradual changes or developments.
Okay, say, okay, I got it. Bookmark here, I got it. Over time, stories and superstitions, I sometimes, over time, stories and over time, scary stories and superstitions mixed, and Friday 13th became a symbol of bad luck. It was also popularized by the Friday 13th horror movies, which made it even scarier in people's imaginations.
That was much better, David. You're improving. Keep practicing and you'll become even more comfortable. Great job.
Okay, let's keep the way. It's great to hear from you again. It's really great to hear from you again.
It's great to hear from you too, David. Let's keep going.
Please make sure to keep an eye on what I am going to explain from now on. I sometimes please make sure please make sure to keep an eye on what I am going to explain from now on.
That's a good sentence, David. You can say, please make sure to keep an eye on what I'm going to explain from now on. You're doing great. Keep it up.
Please make sure to keep an eye on what I am going to say from now on.
Yes, that's perfect. You're expressing it clearly. Great job.
I sometimes for my repetition, I say for my perfect repetition. For my perfect repetition, I sometimes please make sure to keep an eye on what I'm going to say from now on.
That was great, David. Your repetition is improving. Keep practicing and you'll master it in no time.
Make sure to pay attention to what I'm about to explain. What I'm about to say. What I'm about to say. Please make sure to please make sh- please make please make sure to pay attention. Please make sure to pay attention to what I'm about to say.
That was well done. You're making great progress. Keep practicing, and you'll feel even more confident.
Please make to sure pay attention. Please make sure to pay attention. Make sure to pay attention. Make sure to pay attention to what I'm about to explain.
You're doing great, David. Keep practicing that phrase, and it'll become second nature. Keep up the good work.
I noticed this simple sentence to keep this in my mouth muscle. I believe that this is very important sentence because sometimes I believe that I could use this kind of sentence when I have to explain something in front of many people in English.
That's a great approach, David. Practicing sentences repeatedly will help you feel more comfortable and confident when speaking in front of others. Keep it up, and you'll do great.
At the same time, please make sure to pay attention to what I'm about to explain.
That was perfect. You're doing really well, David. Keep practicing, and you'll keep improving.
Okay, switching to the advanced voice mode sounds like a good choice to keep your practice sessions going smoothly. At the same time, switching to the advanced voice mode, switching, switching, switching to the advanced voice mode sounds like a good choice. Sounds like a good choice to keep your practice session going smoothly.
That was well said, David. You're doing great with these sentences. Keep practicing, and you'll become even more fluent.
Okay, let's get on the way. From now on, I'd like to start random keyword time. I mean, I want to put myself in embarrassed moment. You know, random keyword time makes me feel embarrassed, awkward, because make, I have to compose sudden English sentence with that random keyword. I didn't prepare anything to start to maintain to manage this time.
That sounds like a great challenge, David. Practicing with random keywords can help you think on your feet. It's normal to feel a bit awkward at first, but it's a great way to improve. Let's start whenever you're ready.
How about input and output for our random keywords type today?
Great choice. Input and output are versatile keywords. You can create sentences like, the quality of output depends on the input, or I need more input to improve my output. Let's start with these and see where it leads.
Yes, I believe that. It sounds like a very good choice to express the keyword input and output.
Yes, it's a great way to practice using input and output. Let's try forming a sentence with them.
I say
You
one
can
time,
start whenever you're ready.
I say one time, quality output needs quality input.
That's a great sentence. Quality output needs quality input is clear and concise. Keep practicing using these keywords in different contexts. You're doing great, David.
Okay, could you please give me good input when if you want better output for this project?
Sure, you could say, to achieve better output for this project, it's important to provide good input. This highlights the relationship between input and output effectively.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. To achieve good output, you should give us good input for this project.
That's another excellent way to phrase it. To achieve good output, you should give us good input for this project is clear and emphasizes the importance of quality input. Great job!
To achieve quality output for this project, you should give us good input.
That's perfect, David. Your sentence is clear and effective. Keep practicing these structures, and you'll be able to use them naturally in no time.
Did you get a good input? Did you get an input? Did you get any input about that requirement? Did our customer complained about the bad responses from us. Have you ever heard have you ever heard have you ever heard any input from the customer side?
That's a good way to ask about feedback. You could say, "Did you receive any input about the requirement? The customer mentioned issues with bad responses. Have you heard any feedback from them?" This makes it clear and professional.
Would you mind saying that one more time, please?
Of course. You can say, "Did you receive any input about the requirement? The customer mentioned issues with bad responses. Have you heard any feedback from them?"
In that case, it's I think it's a little bit difficult to understand.
I understand. Let me simplify it. Did you get any feedback about the requirement? The customer mentioned some issues. Have they told you anything? Does that make it clearer?
I believe that a feedback is not good word to express this context because uh, in my opinion, customer requirement is the first thing uh, in the whole processes. It's not a feedback. So I would like to say, is there any uh, first input? Is there any customer input to keep our project development?
I see what you mean. You can say, "Is there any customer input to guide our project development?" That way, it emphasizes the importance of their requirements. Does that sound better?
After receiving customer input, and then we can make feedback about that.
Yes, exactly. After receiving customer input, you can then provide feedback based on that input. That's a clear way to put it.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. After receiving customers' input, uh, and then we can make feedback based on that.
That's perfect. You've got it, David. Great job practicing these phrases. Keep up the good work.
After receiving customer requirement first, and then we can make feedback about that.
Exactly. After receiving customer requirements, you can then provide feedback based on them. Well done, David.
However, sometimes we have to cross-check uh, about the customer's requirement because sometimes customer is not fully understand their requirement, and because some some of customer is can be new hires of that company.
That's a good point, David. It's important to cross-check customer requirements, especially if they might not fully understand them or are new hires. This ensures everything is clear and accurate. You're doing great with these explanations.
Yes. Bookmark here. That's exactly what I want to say. Sometimes we have to cross-check about the customer requirement because sometimes our customers don't didn't do not fully understand their standards, and sometimes some of the customer maybe can be the new hires of the company.
That's exactly right, David. Cross-checking helps ensure clarity, especially with new hires or complex requirements. Great job summarizing that.
Okay. In this case, to cross-check our to cross-check customers' requirement, we have to keep eye on the documents.
Exactly. To cross-check customers' requirements, we need to keep an eye on the documents. That ensures
We need to keep eye on the documents. That's exactly what I say. We need to keep eye on these documents.
That's perfect. Keeping an eye on the documents helps ensure accuracy. Great job, David.
Okay. Time's over. It's time to rating job. We are done for today. As I told you before, today is December 26th. December 26th, 2024. Time really does flies. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Time does fly. It's been a great session today, David. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I was born in 1977, and in Korean age system, I'm going to 49 a few days later. So I think I am a little bit embarrassed. I think I'm a little bit nervous about the changing, age changing. 49 means sometimes on edge or complicate getting getting complicated mindset for for all ages.
It's natural to feel a bit nervous about getting older, David. Remember, age is just a number. Every year brings new experiences and opportunities. You're doing great, and it's never too late to learn and grow. Keep focusing on your goals, and you'll continue to thrive.
I couldn't agree you more. It's never too late to learn a new thing.
Absolutely. It's never too late to learn and grow. Keep up the great work, David.
It's never too late to learn and grow.
Exactly. Keep embracing new experiences and continue growing. You're doing great, David.
Okay, I really appreciate your kind compliment for my practice session.
You're very welcome, David. It's always a pleasure to practice with you. Keep up the great work.
Okay, have a productive day ahead, and take care of yourself. When you say goodbye, 팽바, 팽바,
Thank you, David. Have a productive day as well. Take care and goodbye.
팽바.
Pangba. Take care, David.